Leander Pace made his Davis Cup debut nearly 25 years back, and it sounds funny to say that, right? Back in 1990 against Japan. And he's going to be playing in this coming Davis Cup tie against Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic rather. And he's probably going to make an Olympic appearance, which is going to be his seventh, putting him in sort of an elite category. What's with this guy? Can't he stop?
I don't think so. I made my journalism debut, I guess, in the same year. That was the first Davis Cup I reported in Chandigarh. Japan, India, Leander playing the doubles there. I'm getting tired. I don't think Leander's ever going to get tired. You know, if he has his own way, we are taken out of the picture. All analysts and opinions and, whatever is there is just thrown out of the window. I think he'll keep playing till he's 60, because honestly now I believe that he can. He can simply because, number one, you can't do this for such a length of time unless you have the passion.
Right. The passion is not questioned.
Passion is there. It's like he's filled with it, and he needs to get up every day to play tennis. The other thing is he loves winning. You can have a lot of players who say, okay, we go for awards and we go for this and we go for that. This guy is a numbers guy. I remember in 2004, I used to interview him every second, third day at the Olympics. And at that time, I asked him how long. Because we thought 2004, okay, fine, this is the one, maybe one more, And believe me, he said that you can go out of the game. He says, you probably stop reporting. I won't stop. I'll play till I'm winning. And till I'm winning, I'll be selected. So he hasn't stopped winning. He's being selected and he's going to be at Rio.
Taking you back to the 1990 Davis Cup match, right? He was a 16-year-old. Did anything sort of stand out for you?
Yeah, his energy for one. I think now if you see, he's calmed down. He's actually, he's not even 20% of what he was at that time. He was this young kid who everybody had heard of. He was also famous because his father was an Olympic bronze medalist, 1972 for hockey, Dr. Pace.
And his mother also
a basketball captain. So he came from a family that was entrenched, known in sport. So for him to walk into the Davis Cup, not because of his parents, but because of his play. And everybody wanted to understand, know, see, feel, who's this young kid? Zishan was already there. Vasudevan was already there, who had already made their mark as national champion. Zishan, I think that year was the national champion in 1990. Again, he came from a tennis family. Akhtar Ali had played the Davis Cup, his father. And his father was also once India's coach. What I can remember about that doubles tie was that it went quite a distance. And this guy at that time,
the fifth set was 18-16 or something.
Yeah, it went on and on and on. And it was a restive crowd and they were all watching Leander. Zishan was this calm guy at the baseline because he used to love playing on the baseline. This guy was at the nets. And even now, if you see, on the nets, he's got the best hands. Even then he had. But what I can remember was that all the points that he won at the net, if there was no net there, he would have gone to the other side and he would have done this right at the jabs, because this is what he was doing throughout the match, standing on this side of the net after he won a point. In the press conference that followed in the evening, a lot of journalists asked Naresh was the non-playing captain and the coach at that time, it sometimes feels a little weird because it doesn't look nice that you're going to go to a player and just do this constantly. So he said, don't worry, he's a kid. We have already spoken to him. We'll try and curb it.
But nothing curbed.
No, nothing curbed. And thankfully, you didn't curb the guy's energy. You didn't tell him what you're doing is wrong or whatever. But yeah, you could tell him that, okay, you don't go on this over-long celebration, range while the match is still on. That's all,
When we talk about professional athletes, we always want to see them focused on their sport. In some sports like football, coaches often enough prohibit their players from even partying the night before or even having wives and girlfriends tag along with the team. But with Leander, it's always felt that he's been able to keep these two aspects compartmentalized, right? He's had his share of controversy, but his focus on the tennis court has been impeccable.
He's got two lives. I think if I hope my dear friend Rohit Brajnath in Singapore now, probably a great tennis writer, if he comes out of the book, and I hope he does, It should be called off the court and on the court. You know, that's the two aspects of Leander. You rightly said, what he does off the court has a lot of bearing on himself. You know, all the controversies that he gets in, and you know, even now he's got a custody battle for his child, you know, following his divorce. And yet he's won the US Open.
Yeah, he seems to have, total focus on the court.
That is probably the reason why at 42 he's still there. Somebody else would have probably finished off by now, you know. Leave the passion apart. I mean, it would have, it's like driving a car which is supposed to be driven till 2 lakh efficiently. You're driving it till 5, 6, you know. And of course you're getting it serviced, but it's driving till 5, 6. I think he's one of those guys. And if any athlete in this world, at the times we live in, can take away off the court and keep himself on the court in a very different frame of mind, I think he is the most brilliant guy to do that. 7 Olympics, Mohit, I can't even understand how can you play 7 Olympics, you know. I mean, I don't think even he ever believed it. I mean, I guess there must be a list of people who probably...
Yeah, there's, I think 10 is the most, but usually those are in sports like the horse riding, you know, equestrian things, or sometimes in shooting you have guys who do that. But no, I mean, with the possible exception of, I think, Merlin Ottey, who's also got, I think, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
In a straight-out athletic-driven sport, you don't really have anybody like that.
I think it won't be very surprising if he celebrates his 50th playing a major, or he celebrates his 50th playing Davis Cup. And I hope they never make him the non-playing captain, because you know what is going to happen? That he's going to come and play the doubles the next day, because he'll say, no, I'm going to do it.
And I'm probably better than whoever
I'm
else.
probably better than most. I think in that way, he is probably one role model, if at all. We Indians can call anything a role model for longevity. I think this is the role model that most should look at.